again. Okay, I'm so happy that you're here for meditation. So again, we unify by doing 3 ohms, since that was what we were talking about previously. It unites us in that we're all individuals, we're all thinking our own thoughts, being how we naturally are, but we're coming together with one sound that we say 3 times. And the sound is Om, which is the sound of the primordial universe. And that sound is still pervading the universe. It pervades each one of us. So all we're doing is that we're replicating it. We're joining in with this sound that creates all life known as the universe. Okay? So very kindly, let us do 3 ohms together. Om. 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 Very happy that you're here to meditate together. If you do have a question, please feel free to, what do I say?
Right.
Write it in the chat for Ruby, and she'll let me know what it is so I can respond to you, okay? Because meditation, oh my goodness, the reason that I really like to do meditation on First Sunday like this is, first of all, I think it's very, very important that we learn to quiet our minds, right? Learn to quiet inside of ourselves so we can hear ourselves think. We get so cluttered in there, we don't even know what we're thinking. And before you know it, we're just in there in a very complicated, loud, indecisive mind. And we've all had a variation of that. So we can't really like be at our best if we're doing that. It's very important that we are able, and maybe I should say it this way. It's very important that we are able to remember that we can make ourselves have a quiet mind. It's very, very important. It takes a lot of inner strength to have a quiet mind. It doesn't take any strength to have a mind that's jumping around, totally complicated, up and down, full of fear, full of this, full of worst case scenarios, all that going on. We can all do that without any practice whatsoever. It doesn't take discipline. It doesn't take anything. Everybody can do that. But we can't all have a quiet mind right now. But we could in the future by practicing right now. And I think sometimes people don't want to practice because when you sit to practice, you realize that you have a freeway running through your head. And it's most unpleasant. It really is. But if you teach yourself to lovingly quiet yourself, you begin to learn how to cultivate a reservoir of peace. And that's accessible to you when you're out in the world doing your daily things. You can reach inside of yourself and pull out a drop of peace. And that's really all you need for each situation that we're in that's a little on the negative side or harsh side. One drop of peace that you yourself have created, generated, can save your day. That's a big deal. That's a really big deal, right? It can make us have more courage because we have more inner strength. Peace is not weak. It's not something that people can walk over. Peace requires inner strength. To be peaceful, you have to be very, very strong in the mind as well as the heart. So remember when I say that, I'm not talking about your organs, your brain and your beating heart. No, I'm referring to your soul, to your spirit, to your inner life, the part of you that never dies, part of you that still carries remnants of every thought that you've ever had in all your other life forms. What? What's she talking about? These are things to ponder on because in order to have a quiet mind, it coincides, so to speak, with teaching ourselves to be intuitive. Intuition will not reveal itself when we're feeling noisy. Mm-mm. Intuition requires quiet. Intuition is the part of us that senses philosophy, that senses spirituality, that senses all forms of art. All of these things come from our intuition. Our ability to feel what other people are feeling, our ability to be able to feel what they may be thinking comes from our intuition. And intuition can only be as accurate as the practitioner. So the practitioner must practice quiet. Very important. So as we learn different techniques to practice quiet, we're actually practicing techniques to build our intuition. So intuition doesn't project, it doesn't move out of us. I don't know why people think it has something to do with projection. It does not. It's all about receiving information. And every moment of every day we're receiving information, but intuition helps us to sort through it like that. It doesn't require back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. What should I do? What should I do? Let me ask 50 people what they would do or what they wouldn't do. It's not intuition. I'm not saying don't ask others how they feel about things, not at all. But I am encouraging you to not forget to ask yourself, how do I feel? What's going on inside of me? Why is it here, right in this moment, that I can't help myself solve this situation? Most of the time, you'll realize that you're afraid of being wrong or afraid that it'll come back to bite you, as we say. So we defer to that back and forth, hoping that somehow or another, that shaking movement back and forth will somehow shake the answer out. But it doesn't. Because eventually you'll get quiet and it'll come to you. And if it doesn't, you'll just reach out and willy-nilly grab one thing and just do it. So we want to learn techniques to help us to be quiet so that we can respect quiet a lot more than we do now. We know that it's worth practicing. It's not something that everyone has. It's inherent, but it's stuffed in a drawer somewhere in the mind. Where is that quiet? People are looking around. Where's that quiet? Where's that quiet? It's there. And you can use your intuition to find it. Intuition requires the quiet because it's made up of quiet. It is. It's the quietest part of our mind, which is why it can tell you things about the past, the present, and the future. Because all those things are within us. And in order to understand that, we have to be very, very quiet. When you read books, you have to be quiet. Like if you're reading a philosophy book, a spiritual book, you have to be very, very quiet inside to sense what's behind it. Intuition and spirituality doesn't have any ambition to it. There's no competition, there's no ambition, there's no goals. Once you start thinking in that way, spirituality and intuition, they begin to deflate. There's no goal when it comes to the practice of spirituality. It is an ongoing practice for us to have our own inner self be revealed to ourselves. There's no goal. There's no reward in the sense of that, get on this trail and then you get to be a winner. No, it doesn't require ambition. I'm going to be the best meditator there ever was. No. I tell you this so you keep letting go of noise. Those things are for other things. When you work with intuition and spirituality, they're not only not important and not required, but they are interference. It's about, and I would hope that this makes you feel a little bit more free, because there's nothing here that you're supposed to do. You don't have to feel shame that you're not here or there. You don't ever have to feel in competition. Gosh, how did they get to be where they are? Da, 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 da. No, we all are going to go to the same place, just like every river is going to go to the ocean at some point. Every drop of water is really wanting to get to the ocean. So for us, with quiet, with intuition, that's the ocean. And we're all these like little streams, little puddles, little lakes, little creeks, merging with one another to get bigger and bigger so that we have more of an impetus to get to the ocean. So the ocean of quiet, the ocean of spirituality, the ocean of love is inherent in each and every one of us. But in order to really experience it, it can only be loved in the atmosphere of quiet. Deep, profound quiet is where we learn about the word truth. Truth is a very spiritual word. It is what it is. It's truth. We say to each other, I'm telling you the truth, as we know it in that moment. But later on, you get some more facts and you realize, oh, I misspoke. That's not the truth. This is the truth. But spiritual truth is something that we can only learn through quiet, not through debate. No, not through any sort of contest, not through any sort of ambition. No, it's about being so quiet that you begin to feel it and it moves through you and your intuition interprets it for you. Intuition is a big part of spirituality, big part of it, because it helps you to sense or to feel truth, eternal truth, not opinions, not guesses, not all that complicated overthinking. No, truth is very deep. I say this to you so that when you are helping yourself by reading books that are spiritual, that you help yourself to ponder. Don't just gobble the book down. Wow, that's cool. Wow, wow, wow. Da, 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 da. Put it off. Read another one. Ponder on it. Read a little tiny bit of it and ponder on what has been revealed to you. It can help you to know that if it's true, a part of really representing the deeper truth, you will feel it. And know that to know the everlasting truth, it's already available to us. We're just too noisy to hear it, because truth can't be learned by hearing. It can only be learned by deep listening. And the deepest listening of all, we call it intuition. It has to be sensed because it's soundless. It doesn't speak a language, the deepest level of truth. You feel it, you sense it. It's the part of you that tells you to do something that you wouldn't have thought of, but yet you find yourself compelled to speak up or to do something. And it's always for the good. It's always for the betterment. Truth always expands. It never causes harm and contracts. Truth always expands. And it comes in those moments when we feel it, because our intuition guides us. It's always there, but you have to be very quiet so that you can actually listen for it. So I want to encourage you to practice quiet throughout your day. And I do understand that quiet is not available on every day of the week, all day long, especially. But you can practice being more quiet than what you would normally be. So let's take like an everyday kind of circumstance. You're getting ready to go to work and you're going to drive to work instead of working from home. You're going to drive to work. And, you're feeling like, oh, I really don't want to go. It's really going to be icky there today for whatever reason. And you're feeling that feeling of dread and, "Oh, okay, so and so will be there and da 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 da, that will probably happen." And you're just sort of like putting a bunch of kind of negative thoughts into the future there. Well, of course, you're not feeling very enthusiastic at this point, right? So what can you do? You don't have time. There's no time to do a sitting practice. I don't have time for that meditation. I got to be out the door now. Okay. Where's the time for quiet? You get into your car and you're like, oh, yeah, no. I just got to get out of the driveway. Just got to go. I just got to like get straight there. Mm. All the way to work. When you could actually, you're going to think this is a little crazy, but you could actually be doing some sort of chant or prayer, or you could be practicing your deep breathing. Mhm. You might not think that that will help, but you see, there's so much distraction going on. There's traffic, there's all the noise in your head, there's anticipation of what's going to happen at work. So, all of that's there, and all the odds are against you. And here you are putting in the time to practice when the odds are against you. That goes deeper than you can possibly know. So what I mean by that, let's say that you have another day and you have plenty of time to sit, do a sitting practice and sit, to be quiet, to really ponder, to breathe, to practice for 20 minutes. But you'll resist it. It'll feel like, oh no, maybe I should just go to the store first, or maybe I should do this, or da 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 da, right? You have the opportunity to do it, but we still don't accept that practice takes us to a place of joy through being quiet. But it does. So you don't really get as deep sometimes as when the whole thing is set for it than if you're doing it like in your car. You get in your car and you're just like totally distracted. Keep your eyes on the road, of course. Be totally aware of your driving. But what you can do is you can practice your breathing. You have to breathe anyway on your way to work. You could be breathing like this. God, what's gonna happen? I'm going to say huffing and puffing are hardly any value to your breathing at all, very low and shallow. Mm-mm. That's a lot of the way that most people are driving in their car. And then when they see somebody like kind of driving too close to them or something, then the breathing becomes amplified. See? And our breathing, of course, makes us out of balance with ourselves. So wherever you are, in your car, you're in the grocery store, you're walking, you're taking your daily walk, whatever it is that you like to do, maybe you're cooking dinner for your family, you can breathe. And you know my little 3 words, long and slow. You can practice long and slow breaths. Do it with me right now. I'm going to breathe long and slow, and I'm going to breathe in through my nose and out through my mouth. It's just a technique. You can do it that way or not. I'm just going to do it for a few seconds, and you can join me if you like. Just breathe naturally now. Long and slow naturally, just natural. You see, this kind of breathing makes us very quiet internally. The world right now is going on around me. There's an airplane. I don't know if you can hear it or not. There's people in the room. There's kitty cats. There's people walking around outside. But when you practice breathing like this, you're exercising your inner self. We're very aware of exercising our outer self, which is our body. But we forget to exercise our inner self, which is our mind. And our mind and breathing are completely interrelated. You will always breathe according to the way that you think. You will always think according to your breathing. In the sense of when we're very upset, right? Sometimes when we're very sad, we're not hardly breathing at all. And it alters our state of mind. How we breathe alters our state of mind. So the more anxious my thoughts are, the more anxious my breath becomes. The more anxious my breath becomes, the more the anxious thoughts continue. To help ourselves, we teach ourselves to breathe what I keep calling long and slow. By being able to actually practice it, or it becomes a practice in and of itself, you begin to have that as your inner rhythm. Right now, there could be billions of people whose inner rhythm has to do with anxiousness all the way up to high anxiety. There's no fault in what I'm saying. No fault. This could happen and does happen to any and all of us. What I'm saying to you Don't think I'm trying to get you to stop what you're doing, to stop if you do medication, to stop doing your type of meditation or anything like that. This is in addition to whatever it is that you're doing, because you're breathing anyway. You're breathing anyway. And if you practice really opening your lungs up, really breathing in this very deep, slow way, you become stronger. You begin to learn how to actually bring in deeper breaths. And it nourishes not only your ability to concentrate, which is really important, but it nourishes your organs and everything else that's going on. So it's important to really nourish our ability to concentrate, especially in the times that we live in, because we live in a time where our concentration is broken throughout the day because things are happening so fast. You get on your computer, you get on your phone, you get on your iPad, you get on all these different devices, and you're looking for this, you're scrolling for that, and this is coming in and this is happening. It happens so quickly that we don't realize that that's not that deep level of life. It is part of our life. It is. But it'll make us forget that we are much deeper than that. It'll make us forget that we are intuitive by nature. And we are intuitive beings. Much more than anything else. When we're infants, we perceive the world intuitively. When we become elderly, and we don't have all of our faculties, we still perceive the world intuitively. To feel love is felt intuitively. We feel it. And intuition requires that silence, which requires concentration, because concentration creates stillness. And as you concentrate and develop that stillness, when you are doing the scrolling and the searching and all of that, you can actually do it better. And it won't be as harmful to you. You won't feel as scattered. It won't linger with you later on. And you won't be still doing this when you're finished with your computer searching. It'll make you let it go. It will. It'll help you to let it go. So these things that we do, like here, other people might say that doesn't seem like meditation to me. That's not in the way that is traditional. I have been taught many different ways, traditionally speaking, to meditate. And I love and respect each and every one of them. But I'm older now, and my practice has been longer. So now I have my own way of doing it. But what I'm presenting to you is for you to start to understand that by learning how to be quiet, learning how to breathe in a slower way, a deeper way, you're practicing inner strength. And if you're looking around at deeper ways to traditional ways to learn meditation, maybe you look at Vipassana. You're going to be more prepared for it if you help yourself to learn to breathe the way I'm suggesting that you practice or consider to practice. Maybe you choose some other way. No matter what you choose, your practice of long and slow will benefit you. It'll help you to know what it feels like to be still, even if it's just for a few moments. Every few moments grow into minutes, into hours, into days, into weeks. And we want to grow in this way that we respect our own humanity. A mind that's nourished with breath and silence is a healthier brain and a healthier mind than one that isn't. One that's always moving and moving and shaking, it'll make the body start to shake, and it'll make the body want to pace, and it'll make the body want to do this. And because it's going to start to like want to move, because it's the mind and the brain is moving so fast, it will make it want to do that. And you go to sleep and you won't be able to you won't be able to sleep because your body is wanting to move and move and move and rock in the rhythm of that pesky state of mind. But we can change it by practicing throughout the day this long and slow technique. And you may say, well, I tried it. It didn't work for me. And you notice, I don't really use the word try very often because try can be said in a very defensive way. I tried it. Okay, then let it go. You don't have to think about it anymore. But I would suggest that you consider replacing the word try with practice. I'm practicing. Yesterday I didn't practice, and today I feel it. It's very honest, but it doesn't have any sort of shame involved in it. If you really use the word practice, you'll never leave the practice. If you use the word try, chances are very good you won't develop a practice. Because trying and practice are two different words. Practice begats practice. Trying begats more trying. So with meditation, it's not about trying. There's no contest. Like I said, there's no goal. There's no ambition. It's a state of being. It's about nourishing yourself. In some ways, it's even more important than what you eat. You're going to get full whether you eat junk food or not. But breathing, you never want to let it go too long in the sense of that you're not aware of it. Because remember, breathing reflects the mind. If you want to know what state of mind you're in, check what kind of breathing you're having. Do you breathe really shallowly? Are you not even aware that you breathe? Because that's possible for people to not even be aware that they're breathing. They just take it for granted that it's happening because they're alive. And it's so vital that it's the one thing that we can lose our life if we stop breathing in a matter of a few moments. You can live without food or water much longer than breathing. And yet, we treat it like it's nothing, like it's automatic, and it doesn't reflect anything, but it reflects life and death. It is the difference between life and the afterlife. Breathing is very important. Some people breathe with their diaphragm. It's a wonderful thing. I breathe quite often through my diaphragm. It took me a while to learn how to do that. In fact, I didn't even know that I could do that until somebody revealed it to me that that's what I was doing. But it calms after a while. So why I bring it up to you is because, our diaphragm, you have to feel it. You have to feel it to move it. So what happens with breathing, most people, what we're doing is we're breathing wrong in the first place. When we breathe in, and watch my shoulders, when we breathe in, we do this kind of thing. If we take a deep breath, everybody lifts their shoulders up. And what they're doing is they're taking their diaphragm and they're lifting their diaphragm up. So now all of the little sacs in your lungs are squeezed. They can't really open because now they have a smaller space because we've crowded them with our diaphragm. So we kind of know that, which is why we lift our shoulders up to give our lungs some breathing space. But now how can we do that without lifting our shoulders? So you can teach yourself to become aware of your diaphragm by just putting your hand there and teaching yourself to kind of push down. Just teach yourself it could take time. You don't have to do this it's this way, but I'm showing it to you so you know you have options. So as you push down on your diaphragm, how you can do this is teach yourself that when you breathe in, you push your stomach out. And then when you breathe out, you're pulling your stomach in and it pushes up on your diaphragm to shoot the bad air out. Right? So when you breathe really deeply, put your hand on your diaphragm and your belly. Now teach yourself to breathe in really deeply by pushing down. Now push out. You can practice that. Don't let it make you lightheaded. People say, "Oh, what do you do if that makes you lightheaded?" You stop. You stop and just breathe naturally, just how you normally do, and then you can go back to it. It takes time. So I show you these things with breathing so that you can realize that we can do better. Breathing is very, very important. Every emotion that we have is reflected through our breathing. When we feel great joy, we're more free to breathe in deeply. When you get good news, you just go. When you get bad news, it isn't looking like that. And it can actually make people just stop breathing for a moment. Shock makes people stop breathing for a moment. Shock or trauma, incredible bad news. It's like a little teensy weensy little taste of death. The system stops. When we hear joyfulness, when we are greeted by someone that has joyful news, it's wonderful. And we automatically just pull in the air and push it back out easily. Anger makes us hold our breath. It makes us huff and puff. Yeah. So you see, we can have better discipline over our emotions by breathing. As you shift and you develop the discipline of shifting your breath back to long and deep, long and slow, your emotions will find their way back to rest. If you don't, that breath, that uneven breath will stay with you. And that's what will start to make your body even want to do the angry dance. Everything just starts to do that. The type of breath where you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. That's a conscious type of breathing to make you aware of your breathing. And awareness is what we want. We want to have the awareness that we're out of balance. And that kind of breathing will make us be more aware. Before you go to sleep at night, practice breathing in your bed, or maybe on the sofa before you go to bed. Sit quietly. You can sit on the side of your bed. You can sit up on the head of your bed. Like I said, you can sit in a chair. But before you recline into going to sleep, help yourself to practice breathing, particularly if you've had a day that you're having a hard time letting go of in your mind. It's spinning. It's making you feel like if you don't spin, you won't get the answer tomorrow. Isn't that weird how that does that? You have to think like this. You have to worry. You have to be all upset. You have to have all this stress because that's what good people do. I don't think so. But it's very difficult to break that habit. I'm the first to tell you, of course, and agree with you. It's a very difficult thing to do. So trying won't get you there, what I'm talking about. only practice. And practice is loving. If you're learning how to play the piano, you practice. If you try, you'll miss out on learning what rhythm feels like, right? Any instrument. You have to have this intuitive quiet so that you can sense rhythm, which is why some people don't have to learn to read music. They feel the rhythm. So what we're doing with learning how to breathe in this way, we're learning to feel the rhythm of our mind. What is my rhythm today? My rhythm is like this. It's like headbangers. Bah, 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 bah. Well, we don't really want to live in that more than a moment. So by practicing the antidote, which is practicing bringing yourself into the moment, being aware of your breathing, you begin to practice being able to command yourself to relax. Right now, it's nearly impossible, you see. To be able to have deep and unbroken sleep, we have to have clear minds, not just passing out because the body is so exhausted. You're still not in an ideal sleep state. So if you practice before you go to sleep, long and slow, long and deep, you're more likely to have that kind of sleep, to have that kind of complete rest. And it helps because, we've all had those days or those weeks where we go to bed and it's restless. And even if finally we do have a long sleep one night, we're still really, really tired. And people say, well, it's because of my body. Well, your brain's part of your body. And your mind is part of everything. So if we can have the confidence to practice slow breathing before we sleep, it can be helpful. But I promise you, you'll have resistance. I'd love to explain to you why we have that resistance, but it just doesn't make sense. We have this resistance to peace, and you can see it in the world. Everywhere you go, there is a resistance to peace. It doesn't make sense, but there it is. So you see, we all have our own personal resistance to inner peace, which makes us have a resistance to outer peace. We can never have outer peace in the world until, as individuals, we practice inner peace. And we practice inner peace. One of the ways of practicing inner peace, one of them, is to help ourselves to learn the rhythm of peaceful breath and to practice it throughout the day. Like I've told you, chopping vegetables, you can do a mantra. You can say, God is peace, I am peace. Or you can just say, I am peace, I am peace. You see, it establishes a rhythm. And that rhythm is very different than, hectic. It'll help you to slow your mind down. And when you slow your mind down, you have more faith in yourself, you have more confidence, and you have more precision in every action that you take during the day. It helps you to go deeper into your own intelligence. It helps you to be more at peace with every emotion that you have. Practice this deep breathing. Know that it's a practice, and at some point, it will happen on its own. It will. It will. And you'll know that it's happening on its own because every day you'll feel more peaceful than you used to. You will. And how do you know what peace feels like? Because you feel strong. Your mind feels stronger. Your ability to love feels stronger. You don't feel so frantic. You don't feel like everybody's looking at you and judging you. Maybe they are, but you don't feel it. No. You'll know it's there, but you don't feel it. You'll feel better. You'll have greater creativity. Every part of you will get better. The body can still get sick, even though we practice this, but you'll go through it better than you would have before. So I focused it solely on breathing because we've been talking about peace a few moments ago, an hour ago. And I wanted to continue it with peaceful breathing, rhythmic breathing, meaningful breathing. You can learn all kinds of breathing techniques, all kinds of meditation techniques. And I encourage you to. I encourage you to do that, to listen to how other people do it. Really, do that. Investigate for yourself and see if there's something that you want to dedicate yourself to commit to. It's very beautiful. It is. So I hope over this next month that you'll be practicing peace, but also practicing peaceful breathing. Okay? So let's do 3 peaceful breaths together, and then we'll do 3 ohms after that. Ready? Thank you so much for being here today. Peace be with you. Peace, peace, peace. Namaste.